the Roto-Brute SB35. We're going to try it out when we get back. I'm Tim Johnson. You're watching Shop Tool Reviews. Do you need a mag drill? Well, you typically know whether or not you need a mag drill. This is not something that you just spur of the moment say, hey, I think I'll buy this mag drill. Number one, there's typically a pretty steep cost involved with those. And number two, it's typically used in pretty heavy industrial stuff like drilling through 1/2 inch or thicker steel, like drilling bigger holes, drilling holes in repetition. All those things is what a mag drill makes definitely easier than a hand drill or even a drill press on site sometimes. So anyway, this is the SB35 from Champion Cutting Tool. Now the nice thing about Champion is they work with all steel cutting equipment. That's what they do. From angular cutting, or angular bits as you see here that we'll be using in a 5/8 like this that's going to drill holes in the steel, not just drilling with twist drill bits. However, Champion makes twist drill bits as well. About anything to do with metal cutting and even metal abrasives now, Champion's involved with. They're also right here in the US, actually in New York, and we've used some of their equipment and tools before and they've done very well. So we're interested to see how well this SB35 does. Now they call it their Smart Brute, and they call it that because it's got some automation to it. So not only is it going to work manually like you would a drill press with these handles here, but also it's got an automatic mode where you can engage it and it'll automatically go into that auto mode and self-drill, if you will. But before I chat too much longer, let's just dig into the actual features of this. We'll get some more up-close footage here. Then we'll actually use it on a test piece we have over here. Well, it's not really a test piece. It's our impact rig we use for checking, impact tools, impact wrenches, impact drivers, things like that. We need to drill some more holes in it, and it's 1/2 inch thick steel. So perfect test for this. Let's look at the features. Let's dig into the actual testing of it, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. This is the SB35 magnetic drill press, or mag drill. It is from Champion Cutting Tool, and they call it their Smart Brute because, by the way, nice case. Got locks on the sides and on the front, so it's going to hold very well. Now, we usually don't geek out on blow molded cases, but I like this because everything's in here. Arranged very well, held in its place. You even get a safety strap here. And the reason I like this is because this is one of those units that could easily stay in a shop and you're not going to worry about that. But it's also, you're going to bring this on job sites as well if you're drilling holes in big beams. I don't have to explain to you why you need a mag drill. Those that know they need it know they need it. So it's nice to know that this small kit, it's an auto feed and a manual feed mag drill press or mag drill. And again, they make it easy to carry, to take it places. All the handles go in here, the feed tube, your wrench, your Allen wrench. So again, it's nice to see that a case is nice and industrial. You got an industrial tool that you can still, bring around with you to job site, or stay in the shop if you need be as well. Let's get this out of here. I'll leave the strap in here, but that's a strap basically to strap it down. If you're in really vertical positions or even past vertical, it's kind of a safety strap to keep the add to the magnet force as well. There's your oil feed tank, your shield. Let's get all this stuff out. Get the handles out of here. Let's get this case out of the way. So here we have the mag drill. As I mentioned, this is not only a manual feed, so obviously these handles here, they screw on here very easily. Pretty simple. Not a lot of instructions needed, but they do have good instructions to kind of walk you through all this if you need to. Again, typically when it's time that you need one of these, typically you kind of got an idea of these. And if you'll notice these handles, they go in and they go out. That tells the system whether or not you're drilling manual or automatic. So out like this, it's going to operate just like any drill press where you're manually going to feed that. In like that is going to engage that gearing and it's going to go into the auto mode. So pretty cool feature there, pretty easy to activate those. And by the way, we'll show you in a moment, but you activate that while it's going. So you start it manually, then you're going to engage the gears. By the way, when you're looking at capacity of this, number one, this has an 1100 watt motor, so it's got the power to do the drilling that it's rated for, and your maximum diameter is 1 3/8 when in manual feed mode, and 1 3/16 when in auto feed, and max depth of cut in hand feed is 2 inches, and max depth of cut in auto mode is 1 3/4 of an inch. And by the way, if you hook this up with a drill chuck, so your typical twist drill type chuck like it'd be on your drill press, maximum diameter is 1/2 of an inch as far as for a twist drill bit, and 4 3/8 of an inch for depth of cut with this. And the magnet here, so this is the beauty of a mag drill, right, is the actual magnet base, which is controlled electronically. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to move this thing once it's activated. And by the way, they also recommend that a max or a minimum thickness of 7/16 of an inch, so almost 1/2 an inch of steel is what they want underneath this thing to get proper adhesion from the magnet. But the amount of force that this magnet puts out is 3,370 pounds. So quite a bit of power there in this little guy to be able to lock this thing down and also be able to do it even in vertical situations. Now, past vertical, they recommend you not using it, at least not without an auxiliary strap like that we saw in there. And the weight of this is like 36 pounds. So it's not, I mean, obviously it's heavy, but it's not crazy heavy. You can carry it with the carry handle here. Now, something else I really like about this that Champion Cutting Tool did is they included everything here. I mean, there's really nothing else you need. It's all contained in the kit, even down to the hex key right here, which, by the way, we can install our tank very quickly. So we'll remove this Allen bolt, and this is going to clamp around the top like that. Easily put this back into place. Clamp that in there. That's in there decently. It's not going to fall out anywhere. In this tube here, you're going to put the collet nut on here and then push it into place. There we go. And then screw this up to lock it into place. And then on this side, it's just going to push in, and then to release it, you're just going to pull that collar out and pull the tube out. And then this valve obviously is going to open and close to allow for fluid. We'll put the fluid in it once we get it over to actually use this. And then this guard is going to go on here. And here's the thumb screws to actually attach it there. We're going to leave that off so that we can see what is going on in there. Here on the chuck side, this is going to be your Allen key to actually loosen that, to be able to put the bits in. And what we're going to be running today is actually a 5/8 inch. It's called their CT50 carbide tipped annular cutter. So we're cutting a hole, and then we've got a pilot tip here. And this pilot tip actually serves two functions here. Number one, this is going to act as almost like a plunger that's going to activate the oiling system as well. So once we press down and start drilling, we should see oil starting to come around the tip to keep that not only lubricated, but also cooling as well. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be drilling some holes today and try this out. So let's get over and do that. Like we mentioned, we are going to use a 5/8 inch annular cutter. So we're going to cut a 5/8 inch round hole. In fact, we're going to cut several. This is 1/2 inch steel. Actually gets thicker as it gets to the webbing here. But anyway, it's at least 1/2 inch steel, and we're going to be cutting a few holes here. So let me loosen these set screws a little bit. And you see the two flats here on the annular cutter. And as I mentioned, that center pin is a pilot pin, but it also serves as another function, and I'll show you here in just one moment. It was good and tight. You can see I can depress that, so it's kind of free in there, but then once you get up to here, it's pretty firm, but I push it up, and that's actually activating the plunger that hooks to the oil tank here. So, speaking of oil tank, we'll run some Brute Lube in here. Go ahead and turn that on. Open that valve. And you see here, this is pretty free floating. It's not pretty free floating. It is free floating. I've had the magnet off. So I have it plugged in right now. I have the magnet off. Now, as soon as I get here and I can operate manually. I get my pin in the center there. Now I can turn this on. Now that's not going anywhere. It is one solid piece to this big I-beam. Again, I'll just validate that I'm lined up there in my center hole, my pilot mark there. And then right here on the drill itself, it actually gives you 3 different settings. So you see you have 3 speed settings, and it's from 1/2 inch to 3/4, 13/16 to 15/16, and 1 inch to 3/16. Obviously that's talking about diameter. So we're right in between that 1/2 inch and 3/4 with this 5/8 inch annular cutter here. So let's go ahead, and we're in speed 1. We've got our magnet on, and we're going to go ahead and turn this on. Now you'll see there, now this oil, not sure if you can hear me with that motor running, but you saw once I depressed that pin, then it started allowing that. In fact, I can do it manually here. So once I depress that pin, it's letting that oil travel through here, and I'll go ahead and prime that a little bit so we get a little oil down there. So that's what that center pin is doing. It's not just lining that up on our hole there, but it's also allowing that oil to flow so that we get proper cooling and lubrication there at the cutting tip. Okay, so it'll automatically sense once I finish the drilling. You saw it actually shut off. That's automatically sensing that. So when I go into auto mode here, by the way, it tells you to get the hole started. And once you start cutting decent chips, like you see here, they said it should be long spirals and not just little bitty chips. Then go ahead and just basically activate the arms into the auto mode, and it should take off by its own. Here we go. And now I'm in auto. So it's going to handle that on its own and drill all the way through, and then it should actually shut off as well. See, now it's gone all the way through and it's freeing up, and now it's shutting the machine off. So once it sensed it broke through, then it took another couple of seconds and it shuts the drill press off or the mag drill off. Now I can go back into manual and I can lift this out of the hole, and there we have our fresh cut hole. By the way, be careful with these. Make sure you're wearing cut-proof gloves if you're going to be handling these like this. And recommend to have a magnet here as well. Definitely help. So you see how clean that hole is and how quickly that cut that. That's the beauty of having a mag drill. Okay, we're going to turn our magnet off. We'll just scoot this over. Again, line up our pilot hole here and turn our mag back on. And now we're locked back into place. In case you're questioning whether or not we've got oil there, if you can see that little dot right there, now we're feeding oil, and there it goes dripping right there. So it's pretty cool in that center pin how it's activating that lubrication. So let's go for another one here. We'll do this one a little quicker and just run right through it. Again, we're going to turn it on. We're going to start it manually, and then we're going to engage into auto. Started my cut. Automatically shuts off. Go back into manual, lift that out. By the way, here's the little plugs it knocks out where it drilled through all the way through and knocks out these little plugs. And the nice thing is you don't have a pilot drill bit, So it's not center, putting a center hole in there, so it's also not going to go up into your annular cutter either. So it's going to push these out or let these drop out once it finishes drilling. And let's go to one more here. Oh, better turn my magnet off. There we go. The SB35 worked flawlessly, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, really, everything about it worked great. One really cool thing about it, a lot of times when you dig into an industrial tool or you use an industrial tool, it gets very messy. Typically, there's lots of cutting fluids involved and things like that. And that's what I expected with this. I expected once we got done drilling, it would just be, sopping wet in oil. But that auto oiling feature, it doesn't supply too much oil. And you can adjust it with the valve there, but even so, when it's not drilling, when you're not depressing that center pilot bit, and you could see here that there's not a lot of oil on the base here. So it would sling a little oil once you've, drilled a couple of holes and then there's oil actually on the bit. And then when you went to engage, it would sling a little bit, but not a bunch. Again, not near as much as what I expected. So it stayed very clean. Also really like it because the auto feature just works really well. I like the fact that you engage it while you're drilling. So you manually, start to feed it and then you throw it into the auto mode, and you can feel it kind of pick up that gear and mesh into place. It's not a drastic change at all. It easily engages in. And then the auto feature where it automatically shuts off as well when it finishes drilling a hole. So we really like it. We're going to use it some more. You'll see this again. We'll do a follow-up review as well after we've drilled some more on it. We'll be building some projects with this as well. So you'll see this, more than just this time, and we'll be able to do some follow-up on it. Now, price on this, as I mentioned in the beginning, you're going to kind of know when you need a mag drill. And you're going to pay somewhere around $1,500 for this. And you're going to pay some money once you need some, some hole bits as well, or some annular cutters or twist drill bits or whatever you're going to be using. And by the way, also, as I mentioned in the beginning or in the features, you can also put a drill chuck in here where you can drill with twist drill bits. So anyway, check it out from Champion Cutting Tool. They have other mag drills as well, but we really like the SB35. We really like the, the automatic side of it. Being able to handle all that and then shut down when it's done. So check it out from championcuttingtool.com. Also keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button? But only if you like this video. By all means, if you didn't like this video, give us that thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling.